Good evening, Olga Skabeva, Russia TV channel. In Europe, they are talking more and more loudly about the need to take our money, $300 billion, and transfer it to Ukraine. Of course, there are those who, in the old-fashioned way, believe that this is not very decent, and this is very dangerous, but more of those who are ready to achieve and push theft. How do you feel about this? And another important question about the special operation. Vladimir Vladimirovich, is there a chance that the war will end soon? How do you feel about it? Do you feel that we are coming to an end?
I'll probably start with the second part, since it's the key one. Back in 2022, we suggested that the Ukrainian authorities respect the choice of those people who live in the southeast of Ukraine, withdraw their troops from there and end this conflict immediately. And I must say that in general it did not cause complete rejection. But after we withdrew troops from Kiev at the urging of our Western European colleagues, the situation immediately changed, and they told us, I repeat almost verbatim, now we will fight until either you unscrew our heads, or we unscrew yours. I don't remember if I ever said it publicly or not, but it sounded something like this, only in more harsh terms, but quite openly and, oddly enough, in a friendly way. Now it's either us or you who win. That's why it's all going on. Nevertheless, I think that if common sense still prevails, then it is possible to agree on an acceptable way to end this conflict. I proceed from this. Moreover, we see the mood of the current administration in the United States under the leadership of President Trump. We see there not just appeals, but a sincere desire to find this solution. It seems to me that there is a certain light at the end of the tunnel. We will see how the situation develops. If not, then we will have to solve all the tasks assigned to us by armed means.
You didn't answer about Europe, if possible, about the theft of our money.
Oh, about stealing money, well, we've already talked about it many times. I don't think there's anything new to say here. You said that someone wants to take our money, someone doesn't want to. Those who are smarter, they don't want to. Yes, it's true. I'm not being ironic here. And I'm not hitting on those who are more stupid. Why? Because those who are smarter are the people who deal with finance and economics. They understand that this will completely destroy all the principles of international economic and financial activity, and, without any doubt, this will cause great harm to the entire global economy and international finance. Because alliances are already being formed in many countries around the world that are trying to implement their own economic development plans within individual regions. And in this case, such economic separatism will only intensify, and the overall financial and economic world order will be destroyed. May I ask you a question about the special operation? About the special operation? Well, okay. Please. Good afternoon, Zvezda TV channel, Konstantin Kokaveshnikov. Could you share the latest information about the situation in the area of the special military operation? What reports, if not a secret, do you receive from the commanders of the fronts, and in general? How much has the situation on the battlefield changed recently? All groups of the Russian armed forces are advancing in all directions. We are advancing successfully, at different rates, but in almost all directions. I will not list. If you represent the Zvezda TV channel, then you know the names of these groups and the directions of their combat work. How does the enemy react to this? What we see is that the enemy is trying to plug the holes, as they say, by transferring the most capable military units from one area that is quite difficult for him to other combat areas that he considers more critical. Well, for example, if my memory serves me correctly, it should be checked quite recently, of course. We are in Beijing, not in Moscow, nevertheless. The enemy transferred the 95th Brigade from Sumy to another area. Is it easier for them in the Sumy area? No, it's just that the enemy replaced a less combat-ready unit and they threw the 95th Brigade to where they think it's more important, and this is happening along the entire line of contact, from one area to another. We cannot relax. It can be anything. It can be the preparation of reserves somewhere in order to commit some actions of a more or less large-scale nature. But a preliminary analysis by our military experts shows that the enemy, the Ukrainian army, currently does not have such capabilities. They are not capable of conducting large-scale offensive operations, and they are only engaged in holding the existing borders, but only in the way that I have just mentioned. This is not an isolated example. It happens almost along the entire line of contact. This is evidence. And not only we believe this, but, by the way, Western experts also believe that the reserves of the Ukrainian army are becoming fewer and fewer, and combat-ready units are staffed today by no more than 47 to 48%. This situation is already at the most critical point. But, nevertheless, fighting is both a difficult and cruel thing. Therefore, no forecast should be made here, and the analysis is exactly what I have just said. Yes, please, I promised you, please. Good evening, Igor Zhdanov, RT. Vladimir Vladimirovich, returning to Alaska, right upon landing, literally on the red carpet. You immediately began communicating with US President Donald Trump. Then, after taking pictures, you got into the car with him and you continued to communicate there. Could you please tell me what you were talking about? What language did you communicate in? Some details of that conversation you had. Thank you very much. Well, of course, we spoke in English, but in such broken English. This is what I partially have left of my vocabulary. But at the very beginning, and I said this at the press conference, I told him, I am very glad to see you, dear neighbor, healthy and alive. And in the limo, while we were driving, we only drove for 30 seconds. We exchanged common phrases there, that's all. And you talked to Prime Minister Modi for an hour in the car. Yes. It's not a secret. I told him about what we were negotiating in Alaska.
Trump actually commented on the parade today before the parade and said, I hope Tsai remembers the American soldiers who helped China in World War II. And he wrote a phrase, it is unclear whether with sarcasm or not. Convey my warmest wishes to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un while you are plotting against the United States. How can you comment on this?
Well, the President of the United States is not devoid of humor. It is understandable. We all know this well. I have a good relationship with him. We address each other by their first names. I can tell you. And I hope he hears it too. Strange as it may seem, during all these 4 days, during the most diverse format of negotiations, both in an informal and formal setting, no one has ever expressed any negative opinions about the current American administration. This is the first one. Second, all of my interlocutors, without exception, and I want to emphasize this, They all supported our meeting in Anchorage, everyone, and everyone expressed a hope that the position of President Trump and the position of Russia and other participants in the negotiations would lead to the end of the armed conflict. This is without any irony, without any jokes. Since I'm saying this publicly, the whole world will see and hear it, which is the best guarantee that I'm telling the truth. Why? Because the people I've been talking to for 4 days will also hear it, and they'll definitely say yes, it's true. And I would never have done it if it wasn't true. Because then I would look pale in front of my friends, allies and strategic partners. It was exactly as I said. And once again, I want to return to what I was saying to your colleague on my right. The SCO's activities and those of our partners, including strategic partners, are not aimed at fighting anyone, but rather at seeking the best ways to develop ourselves, our countries, our peoples, and our economies.
Dear friends, I kindly ask you to subscribe to my channel and like it. Thank you.